And welcome to another episode of Music Relish Podcast with Perry, Lou, and Mark. Tonight, we're going to be talking about a Journey lawsuit. We're going to review the debut album from Zebra. We're going to be talking about producer Tom Dowd. Perry and Lou have a one-hit wonder to talk about. And then we'll do a silly band name Redux. And just to let all you know, yes, and just to let everybody know that Music Relish Podcast is available on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podchaser, Pocket Casts, Overcast, as well as YouTube. And if you watch us on any of these or listen, please click like and subscribe if you like what you hear. We really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So, hello, guys.
How do you do, everybody? How do you do?
I'm back from NyQuil Dreams.
Champagne dreams and caviar nightmare.
Mark, it's great to be back, isn't it? Like Tony Orlando. It's great to be back.
It's great to be back.
That's Perry Maudlin over there. It's great to be back, man.
Great to be back.
I love you, man. I love you guys.
Mark, you had mentioned to me about this Journey lawsuit that's going on.
I'm suing them.
You're suing them? Let's get into it. What is this Journey lawsuit about?
Evidently, it's not about publishing, as what we've talked about in other shows. It has to do with trademarks, right, Perry?
Trademarks. Yeah.
Like branding? Branding?
Yep. And so putting Can't Stop Believing on a T-shirt, I'm Stone in Love.
Another source of income, because you're not getting any income from streaming. Right. So this is going to be a pretty big thing ongoing now with bands.
So who is suing who within Journey? Is someone suing Journey, or are they suing? Is it internecine lawsuits all suing each other?
It's Neil. Go ahead. It's Steve Perry against Neil Schon and John Cain.
Right.
Correct.
As I understand it now, it's very hard for me. I love law. I love legalities, but I have to read it 10,000 times to understand anything. So as I understand it, Jonathan Cain and Neil Schon decided to take trademark rights of songs like, Don't Stop Believin'. They didn't include Steve Perry. And as I understand it, Steve Perry went, whoa, guys.
The guy who probably wrote the guy who probably wrote the lyrics.
Or it was just with, what he says is what Don't Stop Believin'. If it was Greg Rowley singing, it wouldn't have been the same song. So he has a right to say, I'm a big part of that.
I would think so. I mean, even if they're licensing a song for a T-shirt or a board game, don't you need the cooperation of all the copyright holders? If Steve Perry is, did they buy him out?
No, from what I read, Neil Schon and John Cain started their own LLC, those two, and did these trademarks. Am I correct, Mark?
Yeah,
by themselves without Steve Perry.
Well, here we got to say something. It's not necessarily Neil and Jonathan talking. It's their managers and their lawyers. Yeah. This is where it's all coming from.
But regardless, they did do that.
Yes.
They started their own LLC and left Steve Perry out of it.
Right. It's almost like he's dead to them. Like ever since he left the band or they pushed him out, they just don't want him to have any part of it.
Wow. That seems risky on their part, knowing that if, it would come to his attention. Because do I have to give back my Faithfully T-shirt?
Yeah, Lou.
It's funny you mentioned T-shirts, Lou, because think about Don't Stop Believing, right?
Yeah. Great catchphrase. Great catchphrase.
But think about it. Think about that on a T-shirt, and Neil Schon and the other guy own the rights to that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So they stand to me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I see Neil Schon thinking down the road, Old Navy having Journey line of T-shirts. He's probably thinking along that because, as we've pointed out, they're not making money from record sales anymore. Touring is really their main money maker, but, a lot of bands didn't tour over the last few years. So They're looking for any source of income possible.
They're not making money from streaming, so this is now going to be a new source of revenue.
Yeah.
Think about this. Think about Peter Frampton now, right? Show Me the Way. Now, if he trademarked that, Show Me the Way on T-shirts, on bumper stickers, on anything, this is what it's going to become.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Any kind of sloganeering or any kind of
Nike, just do it.
So that means any one of the three of us could, if it's not already taken, trademark a catchphrase.
Think it's time. Yeah.
Think it's time.
Yeah.
I like that. Think it's time, man. It's a very positive message.
You understand? Yeah. So go ahead, Mark, about this Journey Steve Perry thing, because I know Steve Perry, he sued those two guys, rightfully so. If you ask me, rightfully so.
And what's kind of cryptic about this story is I do always follow Journey news because they're kind of like the Eagles and the Rolling Stones. They're a corporation. So I like to read about little things happening. And right before this story broke, there was a story that broke about Neil Schon said that him and Steve Perry are starting to talk again. Now, like that was the same week that this lawsuit thing broke out. So it's like it's a big picture. And who knows, maybe Neil and Steve are talking and they're fine, but their lawyers and their managers are fighting it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it.
You don't start up your LLC for trademarking songs that Steve Perry wrote the lyrics to. You don't do it.
I mean, now, Jonathan Cain did write I don't know, he may have written the lyrics to Don't Stop Believing. I'm not sure because he wrote a lot of their songs, lyrics, and he wrote their ballads.
Oh, he did?
Open Arms, Faithfully. That's all Jonathan Cain. So I'm not sure who actually wrote the lyrics. But even if Steve Perry didn't write the lyrics, he performed it, and it's a Steve Perry. You know, what do you remember when you hear that? You remember Steve Perry's voice.
If his name is on the copyright of the song, you don't do that, man. You don't do it.
So what about, say, Russ Valerie and Steve Smith being former members of Journey? Have they been bought? Were they bought out? Do they have any claim to that as well?
It's interesting you say that, Lou, because there was a lawsuit. Apparently, Mark, you probably know more about this than I. Those other two guys in Journey tried to trademark the name Journey or something, and and there was and Neil Schon and Jonathan Cain went after them, and maybe Steve Perry as well. I don't know because there's a corporation.
That may have kickstarted this whole thing with trademarks, like when they said, "Oh, someone's trying to use the Journey name, a patent or whatever. Oh, we got to start thinking of this, guy." So maybe Jonathan and Neil were just like, "We got to do this." I mean, don't forget though, it's ironic that they're doing this, but I'd say about 7 or 8 years ago, the lineup of the Santana band that played on Abraxas, without Carlos Santana, toured under the name of Abraxas. Carlos Santana sued them to say you can't use that name, Abraxas. So they themselves have been sued, for taking a name, and it's ugly, really ugly stuff.
And interestingly, Greg Raleigh and Neil Schon were on that record, Abraxas, right?
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it wasn't just that song.
Then.
But Lou, it wasn't just that song, Don't Stop Believing. There were like 20 other songs that they trademarked.
Was there any comment from Greg Raleigh?
No, he's been out of the band for so long that he's probably not in the corporation.
Well,
what about hugging, touching, loving, squeezing, kissing, jumping, drinking, and humping? What about that song? I mean,
if they do any way you want it mixed drink package, Greg Raleigh may have a say in that. But
I foresee
Burger King. I'm talking Burger King.
I foresee this happening in the future. Like, think of Peter Frampton. Like I said, not just Show Me the Way. This is merchandising now.
Yeah.
If you trademark Show Me the Way, and what's some other Peter Frampton songs that are catchy like that?
Do you feel?
Do you feel like
that'll be the KY? You. That'll be the KY or Trojan.
I'm in use the KY.
But do you see this? I foresee record deals going this way to where they get to the deal is we get the trademarks on all our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We get this is incredible.
Something in advance. So you sign a contract, even if you say, all future
Right.
has,
you could own the masters, but we own the trademarks.
Wow.
Right.
And you could, in fact, you could own the copyright. And in fact, this is interesting because Journey, I don't know that they own the copyrights, but so in other words, if they don't own the copyright to Don't Stop Believing, they can still trademark it because they wrote it.
Right.
So
Journey, and not to mention, it's not about the music. It's just a comment that when the 80s came about, it was a big business era, the big booming 80s. But Journey were considered one of the first corporate rock bands because they had a structure. So I think when Steve Smith, I think he was the first to leave of that most well-known group after it was the Ainsley Dunbar. Was he the original drummer?
He was the original drummer, I think.
All right.
From what I read.
Steve Smith. I think I heard he was forced out. But anyway, he said, I remember him mentioning the Journey organization took care of me. Basically saying, you probably got some residuals and a nice pension or of sorts,
But not just think about
not a bad deal. I mean, it's not, it seemed unromantic at the time and very unpunk. But when you think about it,
think about more than Peter Frampton and the Journey. I mean, there's, the Jay Giles band. You could trade, these trademarks are going to be something.
Love Stinks.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm thinking.
There you go.
There you
go. And they probably don't own that. So in other words, you could produce 1,000 T-shirts that say "Love Stinks" on it and not get in trouble. But with this Journey, with these trademarks, they now have the right to sue people who do that. Yeah.
Right.
Well, the Rolling Stones always had their own. They were like the first band I knew of that had a clothing line, the tongue and everything. They're going to get in on this in a new way. They'll push it to the edge, I don't know. It'll be Start Me Up gum, or tobacco chew or whatever. Yeah. It's going to get crazy. Yeah. It really is.
It's going to open a door to more just commercialism. Potentially, or just maybe crass commercialism.
Or I can't get no satisfaction.
Start me up.
Anything like
ED.
that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it goes back to what do we always say? These artists, we do agree that they write these songs. This is their creative juices. They write these songs. Jonathan Cain wrote these songs in his bedroom or whatever. They deserve the money. And it goes back to is they're getting screwed by the content, the music itself being sold to fans. And I have no trouble knowing that's why I like physical mediums. This whole download thing, I know it's here to stay, but I still order CDs. People think I'm crazy. I want a physical medium, and I know that they're getting a little bit more money out of it than if I listen. I do listen to Spotify. I'm a hypocrite. But, when I listen to the Stones on Spotify, I all right, so bring up a Zebra. I listen to them, and some people get on my case. Oh, you're screwing them. I said, no, I've bought the CDs. There's a number of bands where you've bought the CDs already. Yeah. So you have the right to listen to it streaming, Yeah. Not going to buy this. It's like saying that, I'm going to buy Tattoo You every time I want to hear Start Me Up. Now you're not going to go out and buy it every time, you've bought the right to listen to it. But if artists weren't being screwed in that way, then I don't think we'd be seeing all these crazy lawsuits. They're desperate, I mean, I see it this way. Neil Sean, you could say he's greedy. Mick and Keith, greedy. But then if they didn't get that cut, somebody else would be getting it. So should it be some big corporation getting the cut, not them?
I don't think of it as greed at all now. It's just business now.
Or also maybe, survival and, the future of your families and, these bands, even though, the Journey, they have an organization, there's people that depend upon them. Their catalog may not, if they want to sell their catalog, it may not be worth as much as we think at this point. Not like Genesis selling theirs for $300 million.
That happened recently, didn't it?
Yeah. But the Journey had hits, but is that catalog worth anything? That span of time for Journey,
for it absolutely is for TV commercials and I mean,
or
I've heard those songs on TV commercials and whatnot. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's funny, we're only talking about 3 albums that had all those biggest songs. Journey had a very short arc of being the biggest band in the world. It was the early 80s.
That's what I mean. Yeah. They don't have the 50-year career of Genesis or the Rolling Stones or Bob Dylan. They don't have that. Like I said, that's a good point, Mark. There was a very 5-year period, maybe, if that.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
But by the way, just to correct something on the Genesis, none of the sales included the Peter Gabriel era stuff. It was only the stuff from after Peter left. So I guess you know what it was.
Well,
I think
they can't. Peter Gabriel wrote those songs. So they can't do it without him. Yep.
Right. I mean, they wrote them with him. Sure.
Correct. You know. But if he's the lyricist or whatever he may be, you can't. You can't sell that shit.
Yeah. When he needs the money, he'll do it.
I'm with Steve Perry on this one, man. I think Neil Schon and Jonathan Cain fucked up big time, man.
Perry.
Yeah.
Steve Perry. Sherry. Yeah.
Perry.
Yep.
You should have been gone, Perry.
There's another one. One. T-shirt, bumper sticker. You should have been gone. Yep. Yep.
That could be. That's not even a title. That could be any phrase from the song.
Yeah, but now they have the right to. They have the right to sue.
Litigation.
When people print out "Don't Stop Believing," they have the right to sue now. That's really what it's about. Is the ability to sue.
Oh hell, with the smoke shops now legal everywhere, Stone in Love. I mean, they're gonna make a ton of money.
I hope Peter Frampton trademarks his songs, man. I hope he does.
He has re-recorded a lot of them, so he can make money on it. Like I've heard lines on my face, which is a really beautiful song, by the way.
Right.
Re-recording to that, Show Me the Way. So.
Right, but that's different though. These are actual trademarks of these names. Yeah. So
now, in his case, that was the Robert Stigwood organization. So he probably doesn't get a dime from that. It's that kind of thing, or whatever you can renegotiate and redo.
By the way, I think Neil Schon and Kenny Rogers had the same plastic surgeon because they're. I think they're.
And you believe in me.
I think his face has been pulled back pretty tight, man.
My ears are in the back of my head. I can hear things behind me.
Got the Clark Gable pin his ears
for my close up, Mr. DeMille. There's the Bride of Ilgenstein eyeballs, where that lady was in New York, the cat lady.
Oh yeah. Joyce Wildenstein, right? The millionaire. Yep.
Enough is enough. Well, there's another one.
Enough's enough. Hard rock.
Enough's enough.
Yeah,
and a silly friggin' band name. All right,
that was on my list. That's on my list. Yeah.
That was this little sneaker, little trailer there.
Yep. Later on, we're going to do the silly band names redux. Yep.
Yeah. But
with extra scenes.
When I was reading this thing, it used to get me furious when I used to read all these lawsuits, and now I'm just I think the Eagles. I was furious because I used to be mad about how they pushed Don Felder out, but then I'm like, it just is what it is. The fans are the reason they're a corporation because we all buy the stuff. Fleetwood Mac. If no one bought the albums, they wouldn't have been corporations. So
there's a trademark. Don't Stop Believing. Come on, man. This is where it's going to go.
No, it's like this. Don't stop believing. Like there'll be some politician. That's another thing now. If they trademark these phrases,
it's been done.
Politicians won't be able to nowadays,
they'd have to license it. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause nowadays they get asked sometimes, like when Ronald Reagan quoted, Bruce Springsteen, he kind of said, can you stop? You're not getting the point of Born in the USA, right? But now it's going to be, they got to the campaign has to contact the artist and hey, fine. I'm all for it.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's hope Jeff Tweedy gets it on the
what is the status of this lawsuit, Mark? Do you know?
It's probably going to go for a few months.
It's ongoing. It's pending or whatever, right?
You know what?
Settle.
The Mark Smith newsroom in Pearl River, New York will keep an eye on this story and update.
And fill us in next episode, right?
We will keep you updated. Yeah.
This just in. Steve Perry, Neil Schon, and John Cain settle for pennies on the dollar.
For 2 Oreo packages and a mule. Okay.
So,
this just in from the newsroom.
Sharon Osbourne has sued the Rolling Stones for stealing an Ozzy Osbourne riff in 1965.
This just in. That was great.
Wow.
This was just in.
So all right. So it's still the lawsuit's still pending and whatever else, right?
I would say they're going to settle. They will, but it's probably going to take. I'd say minimum 6 months. If Irving Azoff was involved, I'd say it'll take 10 years. But no, it'll take 10. Yeah.
Well, in my opinion,
he squeezed every dollar out of them.
They did. Those two guys did Stephen Perry wrong, man. If you ask me, Steve Perry.
Yeah. Well, you know, look at.
Did they approach him beforehand? We don't know that.
No. He said that he didn't even know about it.
No, Steve Perry said they had an agreement years ago that none of us would decide on anything without all three of us.
Okay, all right.
Meaning Jonathan Cain, Neil Schon, and Steve Perry, and they went and did this. They went and did this. Started their own LLC without him. Without him knowing,
And you know what? Don't think that Neil Schon and Jonathan Cain are cozy, because they've kind of butted heads with statements like they did a very good album, an excellent album called Eclipse with this new singer, but it was very hard rock, not very ballady, and it didn't sell much. It just didn't. You know, it's what it is. So Jonathan Cain's just made this statement. You know, we're not going to record new music anymore because it's just not worth our time. That gets me really mad. I don't like bands that. I like bands. Yeah. I respect bands that put out new music, even if it doesn't sell a lot. They're giving their fans something, right?
That's a stupid statement. That's a stupid statement,
right? Because you know what?
Yeah,
and that's the business side of them. But I know Neil Schon, he loves to play. Yeah. Just put out new music. You know, if I was a big fan of Journey, I'd say, what's in their creative minds? I want to hear new music. You know, if it sucks, so what? You know,
because you're not going to have platinum records anymore.
Right.
Why bother? Let's just keep touring and raking in the bags of cash, right?
Yeah. Every artist has a pinnacle, and they'll talk about that the downward slope, whether it's a studio musician or a live band. But even still, like Bruce Springsteen encountered it. I mean, a lot of REM, same thing. You know, around '97, their audience kind of shrunk down to a little more of a. They lost things along the way, but still, they made records beyond that. And Bruce Springsteen too, although
if their records sold, so the records didn't sell so well, but
you're not a failure.
They were not disillusioned by it. Absolutely not. Yeah.
Or
but I guess
unless you're already jaded, you can't have you can be disillusioned if you're already jaded. You know, like Journey sounds jaded because they're like, what's the point of hearing new music, making new music if 10 million people aren't going to buy it?
So we needed a new angle for the corporation to make money, and this trademark was it.
Yeah.
I can also see being close to 70 and not wanting to tour anymore. I just finished watching a Rush documentary, Time Stands Still. It's about the last tour.
Oh, I saw it. I enjoyed it.
I did too. It made me sad.
Neil Peart, man, his feet, he couldn't even, he could barely keep up. Yeah.
Yeah. But he was 63 at the time, and that was not long before. That was right before he got sick. But he mentioned, the Charlie Watts thing was funny. He was like, I can't do these parts when I'm 71. I could do Charlie Watts parts, and they have the Charlie Watts bobblehead doll going.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, just that whole thing. Like, well, the Rush song "Losing It." It's all about that. It's about when you reach that period when Hemingway is not going to write, like he did, and the ballerina, the dancer can't dance like they did. So you got to exit gracefully.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. It did their last tour. Like, how many shows are left? Right, the last show, the last show. Where was the last show, by the way? In Toronto.
I don't know.
L.A., right?
I forgot.
I think it was L.A., yeah.
And I'm kicking myself because I got my son Anthony to see them on one of the tours. He was really young. And that last tour, I took it for granted. I had a feeling it was their last tour, but they didn't make an announcement. I missed the show. We could have seen them in New Jersey. And then that was it. And I was like, that's why I don't take anything for granted anymore. If the band I like is touring, I'm going to see them.
Cool.
But I found it interesting, like on that thing where like there's somebody like, I've seen Rush 112 times. Like,
one guy saw every tour from like 74 on. I saw every tour with Neil Peart in it. Now my son didn't know that John Rutsey was the original drummer. He thought Neil was the original drummer. So I mentioned Working Man, and Louis goes, the drumming's good on that. And the guy he was a good hard rock drummer. But like, Getty gracefully said, he goes, it wasn't a matter of ability. He goes, he's just not that type. He wasn't a prog drummer.
Well, he knew where they were going to go, the direction they were going to go. And because early on, Rush sounded a little Led Zeppelin-like. And,
Sure.
So he was fine for that. But Alex Lifeson and Geddy Lee knew where they were going to go. They had, and
when they put out their second album, Fly By Night, when the anthem comes in, that was announcing. Neil
That's their second album?
That's their second album.
Yeah, I like that. Fly By Night. I love the guitar sound on that song, man.
Yeah.
I love the guitar sound on that. He's playing a Stratocaster, I believe, isn't he?
Probably a Gibson. Yeah, he was a Gibson guy early on.
He was a Gibson guy?
Yeah, he didn't go to Fender until like Grace Under Pressure in the 80s, you know. But he
Yeah,
can make a
right.
Gibson sound twangy if you want to.
Yeah, he played a lot of Les Pauls. Neil
Yeah.
Peart's playing Slingerland drums on that album. He went from Slingerland to like Ludwig, Tama, Drummer's Workshop, but Philo Shinny, my old band, used to play Fly By Night. That was a fun song because it was doable. You know, it wasn't one of the more proggier numbers.
It's a pop song.
It really is.
Song.
It really, yeah. Great song.
Yep.
Hey, you guys didn't want to tackle Anthem?
No. Yeah. We worked our way up to a Limelight. And,
Cool.
New World Man was my favorite Rush song to play. It was kind of reggae-ish. Had some good energy to it.
Yeah.
We strayed. We strayed from the topic.
Straight
Well,
off.
Lou went out there, man. Yeah. So the Journey lawsuit. Yeah. So it's still pending.
I'll keep an eye on it and see what's going on.
You'll update our people out there that are listening and see what happens, right?
But enough of this litigious lambasting.
Oh, by the way, just one more thing.
I want to hear it.
Speaking of bands exiting gracefully, Kiss are just doing a great job exiting gracefully, aren't they? They're just, they didn't go out after their peak. You know, it's like,
Luke, come on, do that Gene Simmons impersonation. What is it?
What's the song?
Didn't he have a song that says "Maybe"? I thought I had a baby. Like, what are you?
No, I can't think of it.
They call me Dr. Love. I got the cure you're thinking of.
Harry, you were singing an Oasis song like Gene Simmons. Maybe.
I thought I had a baby.
Yeah.
I went, I've got to go away. That's what I've got to do. I've got to go away.
Scott and I from Milk Crates and Turntables, our friend Scott McLean from Milk Crates and Turntables, great podcast, great guy. We were talking about rock stars named Ian.
I saw that because of the hurricane.
Yeah. I mentioned every pop star should, if you want to be an English pop star, you have to have the first name Ian.
So I know it was
go away.
It was Ian McClagan, Ian Dury, Ian right? I heard all those guys. Yep.
And mine's Ian something.
Did any of you guys do
Trent?
Did you guys? I'm sure you guys did Riders on the Storm.
Oh yeah. We did a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
Rainy Night in Georgia by Brooke Benton.
Yeah.
Heavy song.
So topic
what's
number
next on the hit
one
parade?
was the Journey lawsuit. Well, Mark asked us to listen to Zebra's first album? I see that poster behind you, Mark.
Yeah.
That's my autographed, and this was the days before you paid for a meet and greet. They just let me come backstage, and they were very nice men. But yes, we are going to be talking about. I'm just putting the cover of the first album.
There you go.
What are you saying? Zebra. I got the shakes, Lou? You saying I got the shakes?
No, it's your camera's vibrating.
Lou did his double pistols. That's why it's moving. Yeah.
Zebra.
So I listened to the record twice. And now I have to be honest with you. I listened to other things, too, while researching the Zebra thing. I listened to other Zebra songs from other records. I listened to about 10 other Zebra songs, other than this first record. So I'm going to give you my review of what's the record just called? Zebra?
Yeah.
It's called Zebra. Tell me what you want. So first song.
Should we just play a quick sample of that so people
You
know
want to play a sample? Let it ride, man. Yeah.
Okay, so obviously the album is pretty much known for this song. Now, if anybody is if anyone is over 45 years old and they don't know that song,
you know what that reminds me of? MTV.
Oh yeah,
MTV.
Did you not have cable in 1982?
Right, yeah.
Wow, cable.
So that was that's a big hit, right? That was the hit. The first song on the record was the single, correct?
There was two hits on that record, right, Mark?
Okay, yeah. I think I know the other one too. Yeah.
Yep.
And
great video.
And it's like, okay, it's a Zebra song, man. It's like, all right, it's a good song. Not a great song, but it's a good song. But the second song, One More Chance, that's got a really good guitar riff in it. Can you play the opening riff on that song, Mark? One More Chance?
Yes. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. And I like that because it sounds English, very English to me, that song.
Well, I think Yes. They were also very influenced by Yes.
Well, I have a few other nods to other bands, too, that they kind of remind me of at times. Of course, Zeppelin will be one of them.
Sure. Oh, of course.
That is a great guitar riff, man.
Yep.
That's a great guitar riff.
Yeah.
It's a nice song, too.
It is. It's a nice song.
Keyboards come in. Mellotron.
Now,
No.
would you consider them they're a prog band, correct?
No, they're first and foremost a hard rock band, but they have very proggish.
They sound very proggy to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess anything that has a keyboard to me sounds proggy. Excuse me. But that was a really good song.
Yeah.
One More Chance. Now the next song, I got issue with this song, man. Slow Down. Slow Down / whatever they threw in the end, blue suede shoes or whatever they tried to throw in the end of it. This is an abomination, man, this friggin' version of this song. A fucking abomination, man.
Wow.
Wait.
You said abomination.
I said abomination. There was nothing. Okay. There was nothing rock and roll about this song, Slow Down, at all. In fact, the drum fills were horrible on this song. They were not rock and roll drum fills, and
yes, they are.
And the guitar was just man, it's just from what I feel about rock. From what I feel, rock and roll was not there, man. It was not there, not at all. This is like the worst song on the record, man.
Well,
worst song.
Sticks out.
I'll agree with you on that.
It's the worst song on the record. But anyway, go ahead. What?
Mark is a big fan of the band, so before we go, give us a little background on Zebra, because we didn't give a little.
I was going to let you guys review it, but I'll give you a quick synopsis.
Yeah.
Anyone that doesn't know Zebra, they're kind of unique. They are basically kind of they're similar to Rush. 3 guys. Bass player plays the keyboards, right?
And like Triumph. I think more like Triumph.
Triumph, yeah, exactly. It's something about bassists playing keyboards in these trios, you know?
Right.
But just quickly, they're from New Orleans. They formed in 1975. They came up to New York around 1977, promise of greater things, and they got their demo onto WBAB, Bob Buckman, and their demo was huge, hit. And that got them signed with Atlantic Records. This first album was produced by Jack Douglas.
Jack Douglas, yeah.
Now, that's gravitas. If you're able for your debut album, because the buzz on them was so huge.
The guy who produced those... go ahead, Lou.
Gravitas is a great word, Mark. That's a great word.
Well,
Jack Douglas.
Yeah, I don't know if you had a pair. Yeah.
Jack Douglas produced Aerosmith Toys in the Attic, right?
Yeah.
And Double Fantasy, correct?
Yeah.
Which in German is Doppelfantastik.
And many others.
Yeah, the hype on them was huge, and I think it kind of had to do with, look at the year, 1983. Zeppelin had only been broken up for about 4 years. There was a huge amount of people. I won't. After you guys finish, I'll go on a little bit more. But Atlantic Records didn't think they were going to be big because the 80s was turning into a different kind of decade. But Zebra, they kind of like linked the 70s hard rock to the 80s. They were that.
They did. Yeah.
They were also. I knew them as a regional. I always thought they were from Long Island. You know, Long Island's own
They're
Zebra
a dual
playing at my father's
band.
place. Well, but they relocated to where they were successful. But when the record first came out, I thought it was cool because I'd heard of them before they hit MTV. So it was kind of like Bruce Springsteen when he made it big. Bruce Springsteen played the University of Virginia. You're like, okay, I saw him at that little club, the Stone Pony or the Count Basie Theater. So they were like local boys, really, kind of that looked like they made good. And they did really. Yeah.
My sister, I heard of Zebra through my oldest sister, Allison. She used to see them on the club scene. They were known, they did mostly covers in the 70s. They were known as the best Led Zeppelin cover band, and they still do Zeppelin.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask. Did you not tell me once that they were kind of a Led Zeppelin cover band?
Well, they were known for covering Led Zeppelin. and Rush. They did a lot of Rush, and among other things. I mean, they played a lot of 70s stuff.
Well, I fail to see how their drummer can handle Rush songs, but that's me. That's my cross to bear.
Wah wah.
If I could play Limelight, Guy Gelso can play some Rush.
Well, they played alongside another band. I don't know if you guys remember, called Rat Race Choir.
Rat Race Choir.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, Rat Race Choir were great.
Yeah.
They played all covers. They didn't do originals. Mark Hitt, the guitarist for Rat Race Choir, fantastic musician. Never got his due because he did covers, but Mark Hitt died this week. He passed away, and
oh, really?
they're very good friends with the band. And they also played alongside the Good Rats, big friends of that band.
Another
New York band, yeah.
Long Island, yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And Twisted Sister, before they got famous, they were good friends, really friendly with each other. Zebra were known as the nicest band to be around, and that's why everyone said they're not going to make it because they're too nice, but they made it.
Yeah.
Rat Race Choir. How many times have you seen that name in those local papers?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I've seen it. I saw them. They were good.
Yeah,
they were.
And Beggar's Opera. Do you know who came out of Beggar's Opera? That was another Jersey cover band.
Joe Turner.
Alec John Such, the original bass player for Bon Jovi.
Oh, really?
Really?
He was in Beggar's Opera.
Okay.
Wow.
Jersey cover band scene. That's a whole other little topic too. It's regional, but there's a lot of bands that we've mentioned a lot of them. Including the Nerds. Talk about copyright, trademark infringement. Can they still do that? We're from Bergen County, New Jersey. There was a cover band called the Nerds that did the tape on the glasses, the whole bit, just like the movie. And they had a great career.
Yeah.
What? I mean, they played everywhere.
They can't trademark, because Revenge of the Nerds or anything like that. No, yeah.
Well, they can call themselves the Nerds, but they couldn't call themselves the Revenge of the Nerds. That could be trademarked, the title of the movie.
Right.
But saying the Nerds, that's,
Well, there's a wide berth because there's a Bell's Brewery in Michigan. And we had a private label beer at Whole Foods called Copper Bell. Total crap, by the way. But we got cease and desist from Bell's Brewery because we had the word bells in it. So there's so many. I mean, lawyers can do anything, if we've seen. They can make the guilty not guilty.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm sure maybe Robert Carradine said, "Hey, you stole my fucking character, man."
Well, I don't know that somebody created that. Somebody wrote that movie.
Yeah. Harold Ramis. Who's responsible for that stuff?
So let me carry on with this Zebra
Harvey Weinstein
record.
Yeah, I love hearing track by track because this is like the biggest album, one of the biggest albums of my life. So
I thought this was a good song. It's as
Perry's ripping it to shreds.
I did not rip it to shreds. This one song, as I said before,
abomination.
All right, so I thought it was an abomination. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to the people out there. This reminds me of Rush.
Yeah.
This is a fantastic song to play.
This is as I said before, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good song. Now the next one, what's it called? Who's Behind the Door?
Yes.
This one I hear Led Zeppelin in there. I hear the Led Zeppelin influence in there heavily.
Yeah.
Another good song.
Here we go.
That was a hit. One of the hits from the record.
That was another one. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we know chart placement on any of their hits, Mark?
I'm not armed with chart placement. I'm going to tell you though that debut album this is a weird stat, the fastest selling debut album in Atlantic Records history. Again, because of the buzz, everybody had to have it.
And MTV.
They're like the Wonders on Playtone.
Magical.
Yeah.
Terrible video though.
That's the one I hear Led Zeppelin in, right?
The video's fun.
It's fun, yeah.
I like Guy Gelso.
They had some wacky
staring
videos.
off into the distance.
A lot of smoke and a lot of trees and a lot of
early PCs when Randy Jackson, he's like his eyes are open and look at MFC Blurster Cult's they're not burning for you video, but Joan Crawford video.
Yeah.
Oh my! It's recorded on an 8mm at a swimming pool. I mean,
yeah. Well, funny. First time I saw the video for Who's Behind the Door, before I knew who Zebra were, I was at a Frank Zappa show. My sister took me to the pier to see Frank Zappa. I was 14, 15, and I suffered from migraines as a as a teenager, and I got a migraine on the way to the show. So I'm sitting there waiting for the show to start. Now, when you have a migraine, you don't want to be among cigarette smoke, weed, and all that stuff. But I saw the video came on those ancient LED screens that they used to have in the 80s, but they were showing videos. And even in my migraine, I was like, this band is good. You know, it was really cool to see. It talked about evolution, which I kind of liked, you know.
Right. So the whole video shows the Darwin, man crawling out of the mud. And
So this next song, When You Get There.
Oh, yeah. There's a story behind that.
It reminds me of 80s MTV pop. To me, it's an 80s MTV pop song. You have a little sample of that?
Yep. Great riff. Great song. Another great song to play. F.
That's a good riff.
Great drum fill. Yep.
Yeah, that's When You Get There.
Yeah.
Now,
the lyrics to that, Randy explains, it was an early example of, he wrote it like he didn't even know where the song was going when he wrote it. And it's about, all right, so he's got this girl and she's cheating on him and he knows about it. But if you hear the last line of the song, he goes to confront the girl and he knows she's with her man, but the man she's with is really a woman. So Randy's like, I didn't expect that. That was my writing. All of a sudden, she's cheating on me with another woman. You know, and this is 1983.
How do you know that? Do you know that just from listening to the lyrics? Or did you see Randy Jackson interviewed and he described to you what the song was about?
Zebra, the DVD, available on thedoor.com. It's a great retrospective. Randy talks about a lot of the songs.
So that's how you know that. You didn't get that just from listening to the lyrics, though. And
Zebra, the DVD, available on thedoor.com.
Wow.
Shameless promotion.
Not unlike the Edenville song Huevos Rancheros, where the guy's witnessing, he's on the beach and he's witnessing in the Tropic of Cancer where he sees an older woman and a younger woman. He's like, is that your mother? Is that your lover? I'll be the other. I'll be another.
I thought it was somebody about frying eggs or something. I don't know.
It was a stupid title that had nothing to do with the song. Anyway.
Okay, Mark, I've got another one.
A twist.
I've got another one, Mark.
Yeah.
And this one, don't be offended, but I got a fucking problem with this song, man.
That's fine.
Take Your Fingers from My Hair.
Yeah. And
this is a dumb song.
This is
a dumb song. This song is dumb. Take Your Fingers from My Hair.
Because they've gotten us nowhere.
And it's a 7-minute song. 7 minutes too long.
But you know what? To this day, they play it in every concert.
Well, here I'm gonna read to you a couple of the lyrics.
Wasn't this covered by a band well known?
Dream Theater covered it.
Dream Theater covered it.
Yeah. They love it. They like it.
Let me just read you one of the Starshine, Moonshine. You're the light that shines on me, baby. Now that's poetry.
Isn't that kind of like 70s? That's the 70s thing, you know?
To me, it's just a silly song. It's a silly song, man. Well, 7 minutes. 7 minutes of silliness.
You know what it is? It's a really good song, but the music is good, not the lyrics, you know? It's a great song.
Yeah, the lyrics are really, really silly, yeah. In fact, I'll give you a couple of more if you don't mind.
Sure. Keep the hits coming, Perry.
Take your fingers from my hair. They have gotten us nowhere.
You're yelling into the camera. You're yelling into the mic.
We can't let another second, for we are too lost to open doors. Like, okay, well. That's just a silly song. That's my opinion. But I have more.
It's an epic song. Lyrics are maybe, but I'll tell you what. If you talk to Zebra fans, they love it. You know.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm not disparaging the guys. You know, I just think it's a silly song. But there's another song called "Don't Walk Away."
Oh, great song.
This is a really, really good song. And you know what I hear in it? I hear the Moody Blues in it. Do you hear the Moody Blues in it?
Yeah.
I feel that little bridge.
Can you play a little bit of it?
Yeah, I'm looking for it now.
I really like the way they blended the voices in here.
All right, so you know what? They don't have. I can't find the studio version. Right, but. And. Why?
That's a really good song.
Let me tell you something. Me and Tom Spallone recorded a cover of this, and it's so
Really?
fun to play. It's so fun to play. The chord.
Yeah,
progression.
That's a
rhythm
good
riff is
sounding song. Yeah, that song really sounds good. And I hear, like I said, in the chorus, I hear a little bit of Moody Blues in there. I like that.
Yeah, a very classic early '80s hard rock, almost pop. Not unlike stuff DOC did. Rainbow, it was kind of heavyish, but there was hooks. Really good melodies too. I mean.
And another one I liked, I think it's the last song, the La La song.
I love that song. I think that's a great song.
I really like that song. In fact, I hear Yes.
La, la, la.
I hear Yes in there, and I hear the Moody Blues in there. I really like that song, man.
I first thought that was a silly song when I first heard it. I'm like, the La La, and I've heard it before, but once I listened to it a couple times, I said, that is a really good song, but it's very singable.
So to me, it's kind of proggy. I know it's hard rock as far as, the fans are concerned. But all in all, I think it's a good record. Maybe for me, there's a couple of clunkers in there, 2 clunkers, but it's a good record. It's an interesting record.
I think the La La song to me is very influenced by Yes.
I hear Yes in there.
Yeah.
I wrote that down, but I hear Yes. Yeah.
And the reason they kept it the La La song is they were trying to come up with a title. They called it Don't Fear Tomorrow, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Don't Fear Tomorrow would get them in trouble with Buck Dharma and Albert Bichard and all that. Don't fear. But, they came up like they were going for the demos. La, la, la. They never changed it. They just left it there,
Interesting.
So,
yeah. So all in all, like I said, it's this is what, 1983 this record came out?
Yeah.
So for 1983, for me, in 1983, I was not into this kind of music, but I learned about this record. Other than a couple of clunkers, I think it's a decent, decent prog rock, hard rock record. Absolutely. Some good riffs, good sounding acoustic. I know he plays 12-string guitars, and I've seen a video of him playing 12-string guitars and things like that. So
he used to play the biggest Gibson acoustic.
I saw it. Yeah.
12-string, and when you saw them live, the bass response on that was just incredible.
Well, the one I saw, he had a Guild, I think it was, but
that's what he went to.
But Lou, what did you think about this Zebra debut record?
For a debut, it is an extremely very solid record. I mean, overall, I think it was just thinking, going song by song and the recording of it, the playing, really, really solid, with moments of excellence. I think there's some excellence there. What luck to have Jack Douglas produce it. Have your debut album, and obviously, like you said, Mark, that was it Warner? No, that was Atlantic. That was their fastest selling debut record. Obviously, those 2 singles helped. I think they're very good singles. I like the videos. I'm thinking of a point. Someone who's 21 years old, and it's
1983, and
and having heard some live stuff, because I did listen to some live stuff, they've held up, and it's the same band, right? It's still 3 guys who have any auxiliary members.
Those same 3 guys, even to this day.
Yeah, to this day, they've
even
never had
today, because they're still out there. They're still out there, right?
I'm seeing them. I'm seeing them next month.
That's right. And a lot of the songs that you like, I agree with some of them. Slow Down. That is a tribute to their bar band roots. I'm sure that people, if you'd seen them in the bars and you bought that first record, you probably love Slow Down live. Maybe that was just a nod to their roots or something. So
well, I'm just a pompous rock and roll asshole, so then that's why I gave it the review. There's nothing, no disputing that.
It's a solid record. I think the playing is great. Having seen some live footage, he's a great guitar player, Randy Jackson. That guy can play.
He's a really good guitar player. Yeah.
I was really impressed by some of that stuff too. I said, I could tell from the records, they're crafted well. His melodies are great. His singing, I like his head voice. When he transitioned to falsetto, to me, it's more, and this is not a dig, it is more Frankie Valli to me than Robert Plant.
Good point.
That's just one thing.
Yeah. I get that too. Yeah.
And
that's a really good point.
Yeah. It's because there was mention, people thought they were kind of a Zeppelin. I never thought it was a ripoff. I never saw them live, but I think that might be a bit, harsh. I think maybe not that. You do covers, you try to sound like them. or
Yeah, you hear a little Zeppelin in there in some of these songs, but granted, they wear their influences on their sleeves, man. Nothing wrong with that, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really good musicians. Guy Gelso, he's not as a drummer, he's really good. He's solid. Yeah. And listen to his skills. They're appropriate for the song. He's kind of economical in a lot of ways. What he does in a hard rock way.
I am so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that. If I can interrupt for a minute, because there's so much going on in this music.
Mm.
Yeah,
and I would hear when I listen, it's like he's doing very basic stuff before he. So it's very economical and interesting. You said that,
which is a lot of drummers. That's one of the things you should try to do. Like if you want to be an active player, like a Ginger Baker, that's one thing. But for the music that they did and the arrangements, I think there's some time shifty stuff. But he wasn't. Yes, he's not a Neil Peart. So to hear them do Rush, I'm sure he could play like that. But when Jack Douglas, also a producer of that, Mark, he said gravitas. When you're in there, you may do something on drums or even guitar you think is extremely marvelous, and you'd be like, "Nah, that's not work." Mm-hmm. So the influence that he probably had a large influence on how those songs were actually played. But I really liked it though. Like I said, three of those songs are like maybe three songs I'm like, oh, lukewarm of it. The majority of it I really, really liked, and like the La La song, I think that might be one of my favorite songs on the record.
That's a great song. Yeah.
I forgot the name of the second song. What's that again?
Second song is called One More Chance.
One More Chance. Yeah. That is a great song.
Great guitar riff. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't listen to anything else they did recorded wise. Actually, they did like 3 records for Atlantic, and they did get dropped, right?
Yeah.
They were never able to duplicate that same like their debut did.
Yeah,
like
I'll touch on that quickly.
They have a strong fan base, and people like Mark. Yeah. Mark Smith over here.
Oh,
yeah. Check out that thing in the background. Yeah,
bands need fans like you, Mark.
Well, Lou, I'll tell you one thing, and I don't know what you. I'm drawing a blank, but the kind of music that New Orleans is known for. If you see Zebra live,
Dixieland,
Guy Gelso is he's a very behind the beat drummer.
No, he's not rushing the tempo.
No, Jack Douglas definitely tightened him up for that album. I mean, big time. If you hear the demos, all those songs were demoed before the album came out, the workshop demos in Long Island. And Jack Douglas, he definitely rearranged everything. He was an excellent producer for them. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like what you think you go in with and what you come out with, they're oftentimes, even if you think it's against the grain, but that they know how to do it. But like I said, that guy had a resume to go in with. So for a young band too, they were probably pretty young when they made that first record.
Yeah.
So, they were pretty seasoned. They sound very seasoned and professional. So it sounds like they were ready. They were ready to make that first record. They've been ready. It sounds like. Yeah,
and you want to hear something funny? In '83, I was at 8th grade. I was going to go into high school. Yeah, I remember WPLJ and WNEW played the crap out of "Tell Me What You Want," and I didn't like it at that time. I didn't like it. It was, first of all, it was overplayed, and even then, I'm like, it sounds like "Babe, I'm going to leave you." I was like, I was just like, and then it was just like a couple of years later that I got it and I got into them. But it was you heard nothing else on the radio for that time. So Coors, great. Oh.
I'm drinking beer tonight, actually.
Nice. The Led Zeppelin thing I didn't think it was overwhelming. A touch here and there, but hey.
Yeah, I heard Zeppelin on like one song, which was, I think it's What's Behind the Door. That reminded me a little Zeppelin-like.
Yeah.
And there's one other one, but
I'll tell you something about Randy. Randy is not. He is a big Zeppelin guy, but he said before Zeppelin came around, the Beatles were everything to me. I learned how to write music because of the Beatles. He's probably a bigger Beatles fan than a Zeppelin fan. It's just Zeppelin obviously set him on the rock and roll path. Live he does sound like Jimmy Page. He does capture that sound, soloing and everything.
Alex Van Halen says everything he learned from John Bonham.
Mm.
So, I mean, but I think if they did, they distilled it into their own thing, whatever similarities exist. But so now they're all pushing 70, or if not there, right?
And Randy can still hit the notes. A little trouble, but I saw him not long ago, and he's still doing it. Thing is,
it's a transition to falsetto, which is not easy. I'm sure.
No,
the technology now compared to 1982, so he doesn't have to go nuts and bellow into a microphone.
Well,
I
if you notice,
saw them live playing on a small place. He was playing an acoustic guitar. He was doing, I think he was doing One More Chance, or he was playing that, and he doesn't have to bellow anymore. He doesn't have to do any of that anymore.
Randy was very smart. Whenever he sang live, he would go right up on the mic to do the falsetto. So he was never screaming like Robert Plant. So that's how he's able to save his voice. He's very careful with it.
So all in all, how would you sum up? Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Robert Plant sang, that was a full-on voice. Randy Jackson goes into falsetto. It's a very strong falsetto, but that is not his head voice, as they call it. His regular singing voice, it's a very nice sounding voice.
Yeah.
So, I've been wasting those are songs you can sing well into your 70s because it's not that demanding, but it sounds great.
Right.
So you can say, overall, what I think of the record?
All in all, how would you sum up the record if you since you're reviewing it? Yeah.
In its time and in its place, a very good record. Very good. Almost excellent, I think. Almost excellent.
Yeah, like I said, I had a couple of clunkers in there.
If it was salsa, it'd be medium hot.
Likeable record, right?
Well, let me just
more than likable. I was impressed with a lot of it.
I'll just say one thing about Randy, and this is why if you ever were to meet Randy, he's all of them nicest guys. They really are. But during the COVID lockdown, every day the guy at whatever time, 4 or 5 o'clock, would do a whole acoustic show from his house, and he was doing it for people that they're locked in, and it was he was reaching out. When he did his solo acoustic shows, and this is what makes him an amazing player, because I had seen him doing a lot of his shows, is he does play a lot of Beatles. He plays Bowie. He plays Jackson's. When he plays with his acoustic, so he does Strawberry Fields Forever. You're listening to a solo acoustic version, and you don't miss, and you don't say to yourself, "There's no drums, there's no keyboards, there's no this or that." He's covering all the bases on that, and it's just amazing. And he plays Moody Blues very good, very, very good.
Well, I find it interesting you say that, because on some of these songs, I hear the Moody Blues and I hear Yes in there.
Yeah.
And some of these songs.
Yeah, big prog influence, but New Orleans boy, New Orleans, and they're not more New York. They go back and forth. They play up here, they play down there, and that's their bases. And they don't. I'm not going to say they sell out, but the fans come, and I recognize them. We all recognize each other.
Yeah.
Where are they playing? Where are you seeing them?
I'm seeing them in Peekskill, New York. But let me just say something really quick. When I started seeing them, I saw them in Poughkeepsie the first time, senior in high school.
At the Chance,
and that right away I was like, holy shit, this place is great. It was it's a big old vaudeville house. It's dark. It's kind of cold, and it's great. So I must have seen them. I think I was talking to my friend Chris. We probably saw him 30 times there. And, but we also used to go to Long Island and see him at a club called the Sundance in Bayshore. And that was another place. Long Island's a heady place to see live concerts, because you want to talk about drinking, and it's really quite a crowd, We stopped going to the island. That's a long drive. You just can't do it. And they don't come on when they used to play. They come on maybe 12 o'clock, more towards 1 a.m. And you're driving home and the sun's coming up. And you could do that when you're in your 20s and 30s. So you stop it after a while. So, but just a quick thing on them. So after they did that album, they did a second album. They begged Jack Douglas to produce it. He did. Doesn't sound the same. Atlantic, I think, got him to do the big heavy metal drum sound. So it was called No Tellin' Lies. And that was big on MTV. They had Wait Until the Summer's Gone, and they had a song called Bears. That was a big hit. That's very proggy.
I actually heard that song. That is, Yep.
And so they did that. It did good. But then I think every Zebra fan says that first album's their favorite. But my personal favorite, their masterpiece, and WSOU, remember that station in New Jersey, said this was going to be the biggest album of the year. They put out 3.5, their third album, and it bombed. It just went
WSOU, 5,000 watts of power.
Yeah. But this album...
Doesn't that Seton Hall University?
Yeah. I remember the DJ saying, this album's going to be huge. And you heard it. It's all songwriting. It's Randy just took over, and it's this incredible, lush songs. The one thing about Zebra, you can play acoustic with most of their songs, because that's the basis. They're a hard rock band, but they're strumming. the guitars, you know. So 3.5, it's all chords. It's all about the chords and everything.
All right.
Like
Well,
I said,
so they're still out there, right? It's
still out
Randy
there. They put
Jackson.
out a couple albums. Randy put out a couple solo things.
Well, so who are these guys? Randy Jackson.
Randy
right?
Jackson on guitar and vocals, Felix Hanneman on bass and keyboards, and Guy Gelso on the drums. Guy had some health problems. He was out of the band for about a year. He suffered from cancer, and he came back, and he's playing great again. And Guy, look at a lot of albums. He shows up as a session musician. He's been on Neville Brothers albums. He's been on here and there. So he gets
Neville Brothers
business.
Well, yeah, New Orleans. There's an oddity, right? Yeah.
Surprise.
All right, so that's Mark is promoting Zebra. He's their he's the head of their fan club.
No, that's
are we going to get sued for putting that name up and seeing Zebra on our podcast?
Randy wouldn't. Atlantic might, but Randy wouldn't.
Well, that was a good segment on that band Zebra. So yeah. Like so Lou liked it, I liked it, except for a couple of clunkers. And so how about before we go into Tom Dowd, Lou, can I hit you with my one-hit wonder?
Yeah.
And see if you guys can guess it.
Okay.
Right. Can you both hear me? Right. I'm gonna play the intro, 2-bar intro, and then you tell me if you can guess the song. Okay.
Oh, it's so nice to be with you.
Oh, it's so nice to be with you.
It sounds like Neil. It sounds like Neil Diamond, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's not.
It's a group called Gallery.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah. I don't know the year, 1970 maybe. I don't know,
71.
71. I really don't know. You son of a gun, you got it, man.
What was the name of the song?
The song is called Nice to Be With You, Gallery.
I love all the things you say and do, in every way.
I got the notion, your cousin. Yeah.
We've mentioned many times, there's a bunch of songs in that period that all sound like Neil Diamond, very similar.
They do. Yeah. But that's a great 2-bar intro, is it not? Like,
Yeah. Now, was that the Wrecking Crew on that?
Maybe Mark can find out.
Session guys?
I think they had their own band, actually. I think they had their own band.
It sounds like it. I mean, it's not an individual named Gallery, but yeah.
Yeah, nice to be with you. Gallery, I thought they were American. Maybe I'm wrong. But
I'm looking.
You son of a bitch, Lou, you got it, man.
I think I've gotten all of them so far, haven't I? Not to be smug about it.
Yeah, smug about it. You and Scott McLean in your damn notebook.
I'm selling this notebook.
Nothing about who played on it. But the band Gallery formed in Detroit, Michigan by Jim Gold.
Really?
Right.
We're a Detroit band.
Okay.
Yeah.
Motor City.
Let me see what I can come up with here. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Those 45s.
Nice melody, too.
Those 45s, man, that was a different time.
That was right before the hard rock era. Well, it was all early 70s, but that and
Mark, what year was that, by the way? Do you know?
1972, and it reached the top 5 in the U.S., Canada, Australia, and New Zealand.
That's an international hit, man.
International hit, big hit, top 5. Yeah. And that's bands like that, and who did Rosemary.
Smile a little, smile.
Flying Machine.
Flying Machine. James Taylor was not in the band at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
Even that kind of reminds me of like that Albert Hammond song, Doesn't Rain in Southern California.
Yeah.
All that same, it's acoustic bass.
Well, in the key of D, how many.
Play your dulcimer to it.
Yeah.
By the way, they did split up 2 years later. They didn't last long.
Wow.
But that's the case with a lot of one-hit wonders.
Yep. Yeah. So Lou, do you want to talk a little bit about Tom Dowd, the great Tom Dowd?
The legend, the giant Tom Dowd.
The legend.
Influential man. Very influential.
Awesome.
music engineer, producer. This guy is I got a list. I mean, I couldn't do the whole list of records, albums he produced, but it's staggering. It is a staggering amount of records he produced.
Well, do you want to give us a few of them?
Well, yeah, we'll get a little background on just first, though. You know, he died in 2002, but his bulk of his career that he's most known for is as a recording engineer and producer for Atlantic Records.
Yes.
Right? He was the guy that influenced Jerry Wexler. He's another giant, Jerry Wexler, produced all of Aretha Franklin's, most of Aretha's stuff. Amongst other,
he was a VP. He was a VP at Atlantic, wasn't he?
Jerry Wexler. He coined the term rhythm and blues. That's him.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's enough, you know. Yeah, I mean, so he's been credited with helping to create the sound of the second half of the 20th century, just through his recording techniques. He popularized stereophonic sound in studios. The idea for the linear channel faders, as opposed in the old days, there were turn knobs and they're like the size of an orange.
These are the brackets that slide up and down, right?
He created the up and down faders, I guess.
He had a lot
control.
to do with that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he was born in Manhattan. His mother was an opera singer. His father was a concert master. So he had music in his background. He was a leader of a first violin section in some orchestra at some point in his youth. He went to Columbia, became a conductor. He was a physicist. He worked in a physics lab. He was drafted into the Army, I believe, but he worked on an early versions of the Manhattan Project, which was the building of the first atomic bomb, Oppenheimer, the whole thing. Whatever his department is, he had security clearance, but I don't think he knew he was working on the bomb. He was working on one of the aspects of fission. That's about all. I'll get into that. But he had security clearance. Anyway, so he went on to become an engineer and producer. So I'm going to give you a list of some albums that he produced. Stop me if you've heard all of them. Okay. He did a lot of work with Clapton. I mean, a ton of Clapton's work. He produced. Yeah. What
was Clapton on Atlantic Records?
I don't know. I thought there was RSO. Cream. He did stuff with Cream too.
Cream was on RSO.
Yeah. So although he worked for Atlantic, he probably went independent at one point. I'm sure in the early 70s. Most known maybe for producing Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs in 1970.
Wait. Hold on with that.
Yeah.
So that was at Criteria Sound in Miami.
In Miami, yeah.
Right.
Clapton did a lot of stuff there. So did Dowd, actually. He recorded a lot.
And this was the one where I saw an interview with Tom Dowd, and he was talking about at the end of Layla, where Jim Gordon plays the piano.
Yeah.
Right. And he was saying how he tied that into there because it was done, after the song was recorded. The next day, Tom Dowd was recording Jim Gordon playing that piano piece, and he tied it together with the tail end of the song. And like, wow, that is a brilliant step right there to make that the whole coda of the song. Now, I'm wondering, although Jim Gordon might have played that in the studio, maybe Bobby Whitlock did that in the studio for the recorded version. I don't know. I understand that they both played it.
Okay, right. No, you're right.
Right, yeah. But it was a Jim Gordon piece that Bobby Whitlock played along with,
Yes, I read in contention that he either wrote that with Rita Coolidge, his girlfriend at the time, or she might have had more of that than him. And for those listening, Jim Gordon, one of the most amazing session drummers of all time.
Yes.
Tragic guy. He will never get out of jail. He's undiagnosed schizophrenic, murdered his mother in 1982. It's a sad story.
With a hammer.
Well, first a knife and then a hammer. Or a hammer. One followed the other. But
we could do a story about that in a future show. About tragic.
Right.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, Tom Dowd.
Tom Dowd. He produced Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs. So Layla, that song. Why's Love Got to Be So Sad? Their version of Little Wing. Little Wing, the song that you cannot. We could do a great version of Little Wing. It's that great a song.
This song's called Little Wing.
Little Wang ain't no thing like a Little Wang. He also produced. And these are all Clapton records. 461 Ocean Boulevard.
Whoa.
Mainland. Yeah. Tom Dowd produced that.
He produced that. What hits are on 461 Ocean Boulevard?
Mainline.
Mainline, Florida.
Yeah.
Now I'm going blank. Wait, I don't know if I Shot the Sheriff's on that one.
Yeah, that's on there.
I Shot the
okay.
Sheriff.
The Bob Marley cover. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he also produced another Ticket in 1981. I think that's got Rock and Roll Heart on it. Maybe no, that's Money.
That was on Money and
Cigarettes.
Cigarettes. Yeah.
Another Ticket might have I Can't Stand It, or maybe one of some of those Don
Yes.
Williams tunes. Okay. In 1986, he co-produced with Phil Collins, or did other production. The August record. It's got She's Waiting on it.
The Slick album. Yeah.
The Slick album. Yeah, Clapton's 80s period.
That was a good
He
album.
produced the box set retrospective 1988 Crossroads. The live Eric Clapton album EC Was Here. Remember that record?
Yeah, George Terry tearing it apart.
George-
I thought that was Eric Clapton doing all those solos.
Yes, that's right. It's not. George Terry and the late great Jamie Oldecker on drums.
Did Tom Dowd have anything to do with the Allman Brothers?
We'll get to that. He also produced Clapton's Chronicles in 1990s. He did Aretha Franklin's Greatest Hits. All the greatest hits by Skinner. He produced that. Blondes Have More Fun by Rod Stewart in 78. Tom Dowd produced Do You Think I'm Sexy? He produced that. He produced that piece of shit. He shined a turd on that one.
Tom Dowd produced Leonard Skinner?
Not the first three albums. That was Al Cooper. But he produced Street Survivors and Give Me Back My Bullets. He produced a crappy Chicago album in 1981, Chicago 14th, which ironically is their 12th studio album. That doesn't make sense. He produced, here's a great one, Dusty Springfield. He produced Dusty in Memphis, 1969. He produced Son of a Preacher Man.
Oh, wow, man. Really?
Big time, guys, big time. Okay, he produced in 1972, JoJo Gun. Remember their only big hit single?
No, tell me.
Run. Run.
I thought you were going to say, oh, Black Betty.
Now, run. You've heard it.
Jay
I
Ferguson
probably heard it once or twice.
Jay Ferguson was
Jay-
the singer in that band.
Jay Ferguson and Mark Andes, they split from Spirit.
Jay Ferguson?
Yeah,
that
Thunder
dude
Island
from
guy.
Thunder Island?
Thunder Island, Jay Ferguson. One of the original members of Spirit. Great band. He produced Keep the Fire by Kenny Loggins in 1979 with the hit This Is It with Michael McDonald. And that was his
Wait. Tom Dowd produced that record.
Yep.
That's his biggest album.
Shite, man. Holy shite.
He told Kenny Loggins in the beginning, he goes, go like this. Chukadapa, chukadapa. Chukadapa. Make no mistake where you are. Your best. All right, let's not go there. And here's most importantly in his whole career, Tom Dowd.
Michael McDonald co-wrote that song with him, I think, too.
And I think maybe. His biggest credit to date, and this is amazing. He produced the debut album A New Day Yesterday by Joe Bonamassa. Tom Dowd produced Joe Bonamassa's debut album. All right. He also produced in 1976 Rod Stewart's A Night on the Town. These had some big hits. Tonight's the Night.
Great album.
The Killing of Georgie. He produced that single. And
whoa,
the first cut
you
is
got to
the
be
deepest.
kidding me.
That's an awesome
You're not, my
that
friend.
stuff?
Yeah.
This is amazing, man.
And I love how that album is split into the ballad side and the rocking side.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
Right. What else? So he produced one more, the live album from Skinner, One More from the Road in 1976. He produced
That's a classic album.
How about this one? 1982, No Control by Eddie Money. Tom Dowd produced Think I'm in Love and Shaken. I did not know that. That blew me away.
Wow.
When I was growing up, is it, and I would listen to it on WNEW, we did some shaking till the middle of the night, or her tits were shaking till the middle of the night?
He said tits. Tits. But tits was shaking. Now, my old band Philocinian played shaking. He did sing out of the side of his mouth, kind of like Brian Wilson.
And Joe Cocker.
Yes, he produced a Dr. John album, 1970, Remedies, with one song I've heard, Loup Garou, which is the werewolf. He produced in 1970, Right On Wilson Pickett. So Tom Dowd produced Wilson Pickett's version of Sugar Sugar, the bubblegum pop song.
Wow, man.
We
gotta play that next time.
Yeah.
Find it and play it, yeah.
Okay. He produced in 1967 the album Soul Finger by the Bar-Kays. Do we know who the Bar-Kays? How things? I'll tell you. Another macabre story. Soulfinger has one sole survivor of the plane crash that killed Otis Redding, and that is the trumpeter Ben S. Coley Jr. We talked about him before. He was the trumpet player in the Barclays. He's the sole survivor of that tragic plane crash. All right. He also produced, this is close to my heart, in 1968, the compilation of the Rascals' Timepiece. So he didn't produce those tracks. I think that might have been Arif Mardan, but he did the compilations, which is a great record. It would be a perfect record if it had People Got to Be Free, which is the Rascals' last #1 hit in 68, but Timepiece went up to 67. So it would have been perfect if it had that. But anyway.
Atlantic Records.
Atlantic Records, yeah. So that was, I guess, that was 68, so that was his Atlantic period. 1993, he produced a remix, or just production of a reissue in 93 of the very best of the Rascals. He produced a Susan Tedeschi solo record, Wait for Me, in 2002. And the Sweet Inspirations, What the World Needs Now, he did that in 68. They did versions of Alfie and To Love Somebody that was by the Bee Gees.
What's it all about, Alfie?
Was it just some? And he produced, in 1972, Young, Gifted, and Black by Aretha Franklin. He did other stuff by her, but nothing like, I think her epical period was Jerry Wexler.
But she was signed to Atlantic Records, so there was a lot of, Yep.
Now, here's another one. He worked with Thelonious Monk, Charlie Parker in his career in the 40s.
Wow.
He worked with the Bee Gees. I told you he did Skinner. He did their last record, Soul Survivors, which is a really good record.
What's on that? What would I have heard on that record?
You got that right. Ooh, that smell.
Wow. That is a rock and roll song, man.
Yeah. What else? There was a good, What's Your Name? Another pedophile song. What's Your Name? Little Girl. Black Oak, Arkansas. He produced a couple albums by them. Wishbone Ash, New Model Army, Cream, Lulu. I mentioned Chicago. Jay Giles Band, Meatloaf later on in his career. He did a Cher album. I didn't list it. One of her first solo albums in the 68. Mostly covers. Willie Nelson, I guess he did remix with the Eagles. He produced Booker T and the MGs.
The Willie Nelson album he did is one of my favorites.
Okay. I don't know the name of the record.
Changes.
Here's the irony.
And stages and changes, something like that, yeah.
Okay. And just to wrap it up to show how close to home things are and how all roads lead to rock and roll, when he was working for Atlantic Records, he lived in Westwood, New Jersey.
No.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So now out there in TV land, both Perry and I lived in Westwood for many, many, many years. Bergen County, New Jersey.
Yep.
We're all three of us from the same county,
The hub of the Pascagoula
The hub of the Pascagoula Valley,
I lived there for 20 years, man,
I did about 2 from 82 to 92. Yep. No, wait, that's 10 years. But I moved back in 96, and then I moved out again in 2000. When did I move here?
Well, now you're in what? You're in Buncombe County, or is it Buncombe County?
I'm in Buncombe County, North Carolina, in the Blue Ridge Mountains, western North Carolina, where autumn is changing. The leaves are changing now.
So Tom Dowd.
And we didn't get hit by the hurricane.
When did we lose Tom Dowd?
In 2002, he died of emphysema. But that is a very, very impressive body of work right there.
Going up
into modern times.
I'm going to
throw one on. Yeah. He did an album that I like called Reflector by Pablo Cruz. That's an excellent album.
1981, right?
Yeah. And then he did all the later Allman Brothers albums that they reformed. I just realized that. I'm sitting here looking. I'm like, and there's great albums. He got the really good performances out of them.
I thought I mentioned a couple of those that he did. What was some of their latter
Seven Turns. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank, but I was just looking here, but Seven Turns was their big comeback album. It's a great album.
Oh, also wait, there's more. He produced Eat a Peach. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's been with them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Oh wait, check this out. Wait, there's more. He did Live at the Fillmore East. He produced that. Blondes Have More Fun. So actually, I mentioned Do You Think I'm Sexy? Yeah, so I think that's...
Who's Live at the Fillmore East? Allman Brothers?
The Allman Brothers.
The all-time classic. And by the way, here we go, guys. Ready?
Yeah. Oh.
That's all I'll play.
Yeah, that's soulful.
That's a great version.
Yeah. It really is. It's a great song.
Yeah.
That is soulful, man. Yeah. Wow.
That just goes to show you how one person could dismiss something as bubble gum or candy or just disposable.
Yeah.
And it ain't. It just ain't.
So guys like Tom Dowd, man, they're
Yeah.
they don't exist anymore. Apparently
No.
not with the digital age and whatever else, right?
I don't know. I wonder, and I say this in ignorance, like some of these more modern technical producers, do they know a lot of music?
There's a lot of these.
There's
a lot of these guys who just remix, and they, remaster, and but these guys. This guy was an engineer, a producer. This guy could hear things in his head that needed to be.
Yep.
Now, I wonder when he did the Layla album, Clapton was in such a bad state about, Patty.
Oh yeah,
And the drugs. Was he like the George Martin, like saying, "Come on, guys, let's get this album done"? It's like I'm surprised when I read about the recording that they got that album done at all. He got that personally for me. That's one of the most touching albums to me ever recorded.
It's amazing. I mean,
It's interesting.
It deserves all the accolades.
Who knows how much time they booked Criteria for? Could it 2 weeks? Was it a month?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Probably given that time frame, and I mean Dwayne Allman died in '71, so he died after that record came out.
Thank God they finished it when they did.
And there's a live record. Record, but
that's not that good.
No, yeah, I know it's kind of. But like I said, what Clapton was going through, Jim Gordon was insane. He just nobody knew it. Carl Radle, I think he died young. I think Carl Radle and Dwayne Allman died. Bobby Whitlock is still alive and active.
Bobby Whitlock is still alive.
Which is cool. Yeah,
he's an artist, by the way. He's a painter. He just had a show somewhere in Austin, I think, of his paintings.
We talked about that a while back. We did say we did something on that. Clapton is he's a survivor. But Jim Gordon, he's still alive, but he will just never get out of prison, most likely.
And Bobby Whitlock says he still gets checks from All Things Must Pass, George Harrison.
Still that's right.
Checks.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Still gets royalty checks.
That record, all the great musicians on that record alone, that's worthy of an hour itself. Yeah. All Things Must Pass.
They're not big checks, but they're checks. He says they pay the electric bill, every month or whatever. But
got an $85 check. Well, maybe his electric bill is $6,000.
I don't know. He lives in Oklahoma or Texas or somewhere. I'm not sure.
Oh, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much what I got on Tom Dowd. But
well, that is Tom Dowd. What a wow, man! What
a
body of work that guy.
Yeah, I didn't realize the scope of work he did, the different kinds of music, pop music, and how I didn't realize how late into his life he produced. I thought he stopped in the 70s. I'm like,
I did too.
Yeah, you would think he's right. Well, through the 80s, right? And more. Yep.
I think he might have been born in New York, but he had a flair for Southern music for sure.
Yeah.
With the Allmans, Leonard Skinner. In fact, they liked him. They were in such awe of him. They wanted to call one of the records like "Without a Dowd" or something. That was the working title of maybe Street Survivors or something.
Trademark that. Trademark.
Now, I'm sure you guys have heard this story too. When Cream first showed up in Atlantic Records in New York to record, I think they recorded Disraeli Gears. He had never recorded, guitar players with a stack of Marshall amps. And the engineers look at this and go, what are we going to do with this? But Tom Dowd figured it out. He figured it out how we're going to record, Eric Clapton with a friggin' stack of Marshall amplifiers, Yeah, and they did.
That's right. That's right.
This was pre Jimi Hendrix, he was really the first.
Well, when was Disraeli Gears? 66, 67?
67, I think.
So, same time maybe, but still, I think they were louder than Hendrix at that point.
Oh, yeah. Maybe louder than The Who.
So do you guys want to go into the silly band name Redux?
Yeah, I just want to bring up one thing really quick. Really quick. Listener of the show, Chris Wheeler, my childhood friend, brought up that on the train episode, when we were talking about trains, I screwed up a UFO song, and Chris Wheeler is probably the biggest UFO fan on the East Coast, and I mistakenly said Train by UFO. It was Mystery Train. So, Chris, I'm sorry. Okay.
Was it a cover of Mystery Train?
Yeah.
Train was Blackfoot, wasn't it?
Yes, I think so.
Old Black Betty, bam a lamb a lamb. Oh no, that's a different song.
By the way, guys, if anyone hears noise that sounds like gas, it's my chair. Please don't think any different.
You've not been well. It's okay. Silly band names redux.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you guys a question.
Revisited.
Right? Can I ask you guys a question?
Uh-huh.
Sure.
Smells like victory to me.
Well, you guys sit on your helmet.
So you don't get your balls blown.
Balls blown off. Perry, you got to do the laugh.
That question answers itself, doesn't it? Our timing was off on that one. It was better on our promo clip that Mark had earlier.
So silly band names redux.
Yes.
Mark, you want to go first? Since,
This is good because I wasn't on the original.
Since you're feeling better and yeah.
I got
Feeling sassy.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to hit it off with, because the 90s were really stupid band names. Chumbawamba.
Yes.
Chumbawamba.
I get up,
Dumb
I
as
get
it gets.
down. I get up,
That's the
I get
that's
down. Yeah.
pissing the night away. Is that the one?
Yeah. Who hasn't done that?
So-
Chumbawamba.
And if you're pissing the night away, I've got some swag for you.
That's
what
a
have you got?
trademarked phrase.
Lou, what have you got for a silly band name?
It's an old cult band, kind of iconic in some way. It is the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band. That's friggin'
That is
fucking silly.
Was that the one that had the guy from the guy
The
from the
Ruddles.
Ruddles in it, right?
Neil Innes. Yeah.
Neil Innes, yeah.
Amongst many others. Yeah.
He was John
Bon-
Lennon in the Ruddles, was he not?
He was Ron Nasty. That's a great. That's
so
a,
nasty.
Mark, have you seen that movie, The Ruddles?
Not for years. I got to rewatch it.
But you have seen it.
Yeah. I'm
All right.
PBS, a fundraiser.
Yes, on listeners, if you want to see something funny, it's Monty Python-esque. If you like that type of humor, it is a. Did George Harrison produce? No, George Harrison appeared in it. It's a parody of the Beatles.
There was one called "All You Need Is Cash."
That was the name of that was their TV movie. All You Need Is Cash. It was the Ruddles.
Yeah. Ringo was in it. George Harrison was in it. Yeah.
It was Neil Innes as Ron Nasty, the Lennon character.
Yep.
Who's the guy from Monty Python?
Eric
Idle as Dirk
Eric
Idle.
Idle.
He was the Paul
funniest-
McCartney.
The funniest thing was, the most interesting thing is the guy that played the George Harrison character, because he was brown. And
He was
George
Indian,
Harrison, George Harrison was so into the Eastern religion that it was so great. There was a brown man playing the George
Yes.
Harrison character. It was just great.
Do you remember his name?
No.
Stig O'Hara.
They go,
And the Ringo character was my favorite drummer of all time and a huge influence, Barry Wham, who could put a cigarette underneath his lip and flip it into his mouth somehow while playing.
hold my hand, yeah, hold my hand,
Yeah,
and I'll see you home.
My favorite's Goose Step Mama. Dun, 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 dun. Goose Step Mama.
That's when they were the Cavern Club, right?
So clever. They're so smart. They're smart.
That is great.
So that,
Maybe
that came from
we'll
the-
try and get a link. We'll get a link to that in there somewhere. Yeah.
That'd be nice.
I'll
That'd be
work
cool.
on it. I'll get it up on the Facebook page.
So yeah, that was the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band.
Bonzo Dog Doodah Band. Okay, I've got a Kaja Gugu as a silly name for a band.
A fucking stupid name is what it
The
is.
stupid name is right.
All right,
Kaja
all right.
Gugu. Yeah.
Dumb.
Okay, and ready for this? guys?
Nothing against the guys personally. Just a silly name. Yeah.
Yeah, well, here we go. Ready?
Wait. The lead singer's
bassist
name was
from Kaja
Lamal.
Gugu was in Steve Wilson's solo band.
Lamal.
Whoa,
His name
whoa,
was
whoa! What about Steve Wilson and Kaja Gugu? What the heck happened?
Get out of here,
Steve
Mark.
Wilson's bass player on his solo tours, Nick Beggs, who's a fabulous player. He plays a stick like Tony Levin. He was in Kaja Gugu.
Wow.
So
Now,
there is life after.
WTF OMG.
Well, that's for
pretty-
Tom.
That's great. That's what we do here, man.
Yeah.
A lot of those 80s bands, they were good musicians. And the basses, there's a lot of modern funk type stuff. Like, was that Level 42?
Yeah.
The level, yeah.
Kaja Gugu.
Kaja
Yeah.
Gugu. What was
Mark,
their big
have
hit
you-
single? What was their? That might be a one-hit wonder. What was their big?
Yeah,
what was their big
that's
hit single?
interesting. You're right. We could
Yeah.
throw that in there. Yep.
What was the single?
I don't know.
God. It's a good song. It's a good song.
You're
Too shy.
Too shy.
Too shy, hush, hush.
Hush.
Eye to eye.
In
Yep.
fact, I saw that right after I saw "Tell Me What You Want" by Zebra on MTV in that summer.
Wow.
I mean, that's the same time frame. Yeah.
Yep.
Mark,
How's
have
your
you got
Google?
another silly
Okay.
band name?
Yeah, when you want to get into silly band names, you also got to look into the bands that made it but didn't make it, so you didn't hear them. So
I know silly band names. Zebra. That's a silly.
The horse of a different
from,
stripe. Come on.
Got a band from Seattle, Natalie Portman's Shaved Head, and yes, I remember hearing about them.
That's really
Yeah.
the name of a band, really?
Yeah, they're
Wow.
an electronica band.
Wow.
That's a band that doesn't have to be successful.
Exactly. They don't want to be
You don't,
successful.
you don't have to be hungry. Just name yourself anything.
You know,
I got
Natalie
you,
Portman.
you can just go to the store and take food. You know, just, you don't need it.
Natalie Portman did not sue them for trademark infringement. So
What do you got, Lou?
Goo Goo Dolls.
Goo Goo Dolls. That
That
is a silly name.
We'll go
You're
do
right,
Goo Goo.
man.
It's
That's
stupid.
a silly name.
And it's
Yeah.
even sillier.
write-
It's even sillier when you're 67 years old and you still call it.
but
Goo
I
Goo
write great
Dolls.
ballads, guys, so don't make fun of me. I write great.
Mark, I thought they broke up. I thought they're still around. I hear them every
still
day on the radio.
And they're a trio. And you know what?
Yeah.
From what I see of them, they're kind of like a zebra in that when they play, they got their loyal fan. They're from Buffalo.
Yeah.
And they play
Okay.
up and they got their fans, their regional fans. Yeah.
I saw
They're
a
from
funny meme.
Buffalo?
I saw a
Buffalo.
funny meme about them. It said, it shows them playing. It says, the Goo Goo Dolls played a whole set of the Gin Blossoms, but nobody noticed.
Good one.
I've got a silly name here.
The
To
Gin
me, it's
Blossoms were a
silly
good
name.
band.
They were a good pop band. Yeah. I've got a silly name, Mr. Mister. That's a silly name to me.
Good band, though. Really good band, but stupid name.
It's a
The
silly
drummer-
name. Yeah.
Now the drummer Pat Mastelotto, he's on the XTC's Orange and Lemons record. The guy's a great drummer. That's a great.
And
Yeah.
who-
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
who does he play with now? Or who has he played with for the past?
King
Zebra.
Crimson.
King Crimson.
King Crimson.
Wow.
He's one of
This
their
guy-
three drummers, and he's like the lead
Okay.
of their three drummers. Him and Gavin Harrison, who also plays with
Okay.
Porcupine
With
Tree.
Steve
Steve
Wilson.
Wilson.
Porcupine Tree.
Wilson.
Give yourself a ding.
Damn.
It all
Does
comes
everybody
around.
playing King Crimson?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because
I know.
they had the drummer who
I
played with
couldn't.
REM, who died. He played with King Crimson.
Oh, Bill
Can't
Riflin.
remember his name. Yeah, he played.
Bill
Yeah.
Riflin.
So talk about a big circle.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right.
Great.
Who's got another goofball band name?
Lose up.
The.
Bye-bye.
It's another. That matches Mr. for this.
Have I heard a song
Purposeful
by The?
redundancy. I can't. They're like a dance hit band. Scott McLean would know.
They're one of
I
those.
don't
They're
know.
one of those. They're one of those 80s
Scott Dylan.
synth bands or something, right?
Yeah, almost like ABC, I guess. That's a
Yeah.
stupid name too, ABC. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it is.
How about DEF? You know? And in the metric alphabet, the decibel, Elemento is one letter. That's an element. Open the
Elemental?
door, please. I would like
Ooh,
some
he's
element orange
educated.
juice.
That's what happens when you go to college. You get educated.
1 year, that's all it took.
You get educated.
I went to Seton Hall University, the home of WSOU. A lot of metal on
Cool.
that station. A lot of metal.
I grew up on that station. That was, yeah. I just didn't like the Cookie Monster music.
I went there. Yeah. Speaking of Cookie Monster music, on that Rush video at Time Stand Still, they're doing
Yeah.
a sound check, and Alex Lifeson's doing some of that stuff on vocals. It's hysterical. They're like,
I gotta
"Stop!
see
You're gonna
that.
hurt your voice." Hi, Perry, if you see it, they're playing some Alex Lifeson's going. That's my voice.
I could just see his face, too.
He's a funny guy. He is a funny man.
Okay.
Mark, what do you have for a
That's
silly
that's
band
your
names?
turn. Perry,
Yeah, well,
that's
you know
one
what?
so far.
I'll
Yeah,
tell you
it's
what,
my
we don't
turn?
like to get negative about bands on this show, and I don't really like to, but I'm
Do
gonna
it.
say
Do
a
it
band
for
that,
Mark. Do it for
He's a
once.
positive
I'm
Do
going
it.
to say a band that has a dumb name, frat rock, and I hate them. Hootie and the Blowfish.
Hootie
God
and the
damn it.
Blowfish.
Stupid.
That's a stupid name.
And
Yeah.
because they picked the name when they were playing frat parties, and they had to stick with that stupid name. That's why.
I got one.
Stupid name.
How
What
about
is
this? This is like a mutant offshoot. The Hooters.
it? Yeah, that
But a hooter was an
Philadelphia.
instrument. It
That
wasn't.
Philadelphia.
That's that stupid
Yeah.
thing that Rob Hyman blew into on that when and
Yeah.
they danced like a wave on the ocean, romance.
Yeah, but
That was a big album. That was a
What
big
about
album.
these groups that call themselves Europe, Asia? You know, they name themselves after continents and
a geographical band?
UK.
Yeah.
UK.
I swore I would never be in a geographical band name, but I was in a band called Edenville, which is a real town. So I became what I hate.
You guys should have called yourself Westwood.
You became what you despise. You know what I think is a silly name?
Two-thirds of us lived in Edenville. But...
Matchbox 20. That's a silly name to me.
Yeah.
And where did it come from? Does anyone know? I think it had something to do with Matchbox cars.
It was a party. I think the drummer saw some famous rapper or whatever. It had a shirt that said Matchbox on it. It said 20. It was just something like so banal. Like, all right,
it's almost like that frat rot thing, you know?
Yeah.
But didn't that also spawn the series of the 90s bands that had numbers in the name at the end? You know.
Oh yeah. No.
Scott and I were talking about the other night. Blink 182, 7 Mary 3, 3 Doors Down, 3 Doors Grace, Finger 11.
Yeah.
This is why I dropped out of music in the 90s. I missed a lot of good music, but it was like so just revolting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they might have had a good song here or there, but it just seemed like it was a bandwagon thing, you know.
Yeah.
That's just, you know, if it sounds like trend or if it just something obvious, you know. Now, Finger 11, we know what that means, right? What the 11th finger is. Do I have to draw you guys a picture?
No.
For those of you listening, Lou just did.
Yeah, but
for those
what
of you
does that
listening, Lou just did a rocket going into a galaxy. Okay,
but what does that have to do with what we were talking about? I don't get it.
I forgot. No, Finger 11. I don't know. Whatever. Come on.
All right, last call for alcohol. No more drinking.
All right, you got a silly name. What do you got?
Cock Robin.
That's the name of a band?
Yes, that was an 80s band, Cock Robin.
I remember.
Okay. You know what I think is a silly band name? REO Speedwagon.
Really?
That's a silly name to me.
Okay. I wonder what that stood for. What is REO? Is that?
It's a car.
Like a camping company.
You know, it's a car.
Oh, like Speedwagon. So that sounds like an old rant.
No,
like
it was an actual
duster.
car. It was an actual car, like in the 19-teens or something, called It was an REO Speedwagon. Was the car company and the name of the car? Yeah.
All right, I got one.
What do you got?
Cactus.
Cactus. Who are they? Who are they?
I can tell you who the drummer was.
Carmen Appice.
I've seen albums by them.
I think it was like Leslie
Dave
Wesson.
Holland played drums for him, but didn't Glenn Hughes play bass for them? Or
Maybe
am I thinking of another band?
I think Cactus was Vinny Appice. It was like Beck Bogert. It was all those conglomerations of supergroup wannabes. So maybe Leslie West wanted Nectar. Yeah, that's another one. I don't know if that is that. My brother used to like Nectar. I don't know if I probably heard.
They were a good band. They were a good band, but
they were kind of proggy, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. And while we're on the prog kick, here's a dumb name for a band: Can, out of Germany. What a dumb name! They were a good band, but Can. I mean,
that's dumb.
Yeah. You know, it's a dumb name. 1910 Frucom Company. That's a silly name.
That is definitely a story. Yeah, and some of those bubblegum. But they were cute, like Flying Machine. That's kind of a cute name, but silly names.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have Cactus.
Is there a group called Deer Tick?
I like that name. Yeah, there is. There is. They're good.
There is a group called Deer Tick.
Yes, they are. They're good. They're a more modern band. 90s
I think I've heard a song or two by them.
Band of the Aughts. Yeah. I think that's very clever.
They're up there with what's that guy that you don't know how to pronounce? Bon Iver. They're kind of in there with that kind of category,
on the bright
right?
side. On the bright side.
I'm just getting over a cold. Don't make me laugh. I'm going to start coughing.
Laughter's the best medicine, man, especially when it goes all over your camera. Folks have to do a wipe down on the camera. Your windscreen.
Well, no.
Your windscreen looks like it has a penicillin culture.
He's diffusing it. That's all. It's diffusing.
Hey, I got a good one for you.
Okay.
What do we got?
I found some English bands. Mammoth Weed Wizard Bastard. That's a dumb fucking name. They're out of Wrexham in Wales, and they're doom metal. That's fucking like sick shit.
Oh man, that's the with the guttural vocals. Is that the doom metal? Yeah,
and that's the vocals. The Cookie Monster. Is that the Cookie Monster? Suffocate yourself.
Can't do it. I'll start coughing. One of you's got to bring up a big band from the 90s.
I got one. The Honey Drippers.
That's a silly name.
That's a sexual innuendo.
That's a silly name, though.
It just sounds like something you need to take something for. You're dripping
Watch
honey.
your Well, what is that? What's that one line that Robert Plant stole? Watch your honey drip, can't keep away.
Yeah.
Well, they took a lot of stuff from Muddy Waters and guys like that. They took a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
Let's not go down that road again.
I've got 2 silly names from the same artist.
What?
The Firm. That's a silly name. And
Yeah.
The Law.
Wait a minute. The Firm, I know that's
Robert Plant and Jimmy Page.
No. The Firm is Jimmy Page and
Paul Rogers.
Paul Rogers. But who's the Law?
It's Paul Rogers and someone else.
Kenny Jones on drums.
Kenny Jones. That's what they did. I think they did one album, maybe.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You're saying that Paul Rogers was in the Firm and the Law?
Yeah.
The Law came after the Firm, but it was actually a pretty good album.
Then they combined the 2 bands and became the Law Firm.
Perry, cue it.
I've told that shit. Come
All
on,
right,
man. You got all the sound effects over there. He does that, makes himself.
Oh,
better.
wait.
I got the drum roll. I got the that one thing he did before that.
Okay,
What
do
was
it
that?
again. Do it again.
Well, if the guys from the 2 bands, the Firm and the Law combined, they'd be called the Law Firm. All right.
There it is.
Take my drummer, please.
Enough's enough. That's a silly name to me.
Friggin' lame.
As a hard rock fan, I agree.
Yeah.
Enough's
Mott the
enough.
Hoople.
Mott the
Hoople.
Hoople is
Mott the
a
Hoople.
silly name, man. That's a
Dumbass
silly name. Yeah.
That is a dumbass name.
All right, the last frat
Johnny
rock
Hates
I got.
Jazz.
Johnny
Johnny
Hates
Hates
Jazz,
Jazz.
yeah. Bare Naked Ladies. What the were they thinking of that?
Yeah.
And now they go, we write really serious songs, but you're called Bare Naked Ladies.
You're right. That's a silly
It's a-
name. Yeah.
And what were they doing there? Probably playing some college party. What are you going to call yourselves? Well, Bare Naked Ladies. It shows up on the poster. People will go see us,
If I had $1 million, I would buy a new name.
Yeah.
You know what I think is a silly name for a group? The Presidents of the United States of America. That's a
stupid.
silly name to me.
And a silly song.
It is a silly song.
That's a-
Going to the
stupid,
country. Gonna eat a lot of peaches.
Oh,
Going to
yeah,
the
yeah,
country.
yeah.
Those
And then
peaches
go into
come
a
in
thrashing.
can. I mean, it was a catchy
peaches.
song, but totally
Going
silly.
to the country.
Totally silly.
Eating peaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a silly name and a silly song. Yeah.
I can see if you're just the presidents or the president of the United States of America. It's just it's too long. It doesn't roll well. It's just,
Generic.
It
It's just
does
very
not.
basic.
Yeah. It does not. What else have you guys got?
Let's eat grandma.
That's the name of a band, really?
I
Let's Eat
remember
Grandma?
reading about them. Yeah. They were like one of those new wave indie, Yeah. Like it's
Lou,
like this. Let's eat
Lou,
grandma.
what about that band everyone loves to hate, Lou? Didn't you
Nickelback.
Nickelback?
Having sold 2 billion albums in just 2 short years, Nickelback.
It's
Mark has a Nickelback CD. Hold on a second.
Don't ask me why.
Whoa.
This
Wait a
will
minute.
get me damned from the
No,
show.
no.
It was
You
donated to my.
I demand an explanation, Senator.
Somebody
Yes.
gave
I
away
demand an
their.
explanation.
An apology.
This committee demands an explanation.
Did you ever have someone say you want my CD collection and you say sure, and then you have to weed through what you want and you don't want? So I got this one, this
And
one.
don't promote it. Don't promote it.
This one. Hey, nobody's watching. They're all listening, so we won't mention the names of the album.
So please tell me you did not pay for those.
Hell no.
Oh, all right. Wow.
Hell no.
They
Dang,
are,
man.
I looked at. I mean, the thing is, they have a lot of fans. So
They do.
They
do.
Okay. But
I think
their
everyone's
their song
embarrassed to
titles
say
are-
they like them.
Yeah, but they're-
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
They-
I know you play those CDs every day, Mark.
They've become a meme though. They've become a meme, because of their-
yeah.
yeah.
Well, you play videos of them like people booing them giving the finger and walking off stage.
Well,
you
no,
sent a
they're-
couple clips to you. It's hysterical.
They were in Portugal, and they said,
Yeah.
there are any Nickelback fans in Portugal, and they started throwing shit at him, and they because they're apparently they were in the press and they say offensive things, and the lead singers, I don't know, man, the lead singers are real.
The
he's a
songs are
jerk.
so misogyn. They're so misogynistic.
Treat me like
you look better
jerk.
when you're. You look better with your pants at your ankles. You look better when you're looking up at me. You look better with something in your mouth. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, great lyric poetry, man.
Isn't
Poetry.
Nickelback like a drug reference too? I think.
No, it's if you go. His brother worked at a Starbucks. The singer, I won't mention his name. His brother worked at a Starbucks, so there's a certain thing he'd get a nickel back in change. So his brother goes, "You should name the band that." You know?
Oh boy, yeah. You should name your band Dog Balls, right?
By the way, not to alienate young people.
So you don't get your dog balls blown off. Okay.
This is like the generation, like rock and roll. The best rock and roll in England was like you had the Who and the Beatles. They came from post-war England. They grew up hard scrabble. We're in an era now where you got a comfortable generation making bands, not taking away from their talent if they're talented, but you know what I mean?
You mean like the Strokes? Are you talking about the Strokes?
Bunch of rich kids from the lower. They're pretty good though.
No, they're not. I don't like them. The only thing I like about them is that Albert Hammond Jr., his father is Albert Hammond of It Don't Rain in Southern California.
Yeah, and many other songs.
Other songs.
He wrote the Hollies hit.
The Long Tall Woman.
No.
The Air That I Breathe?
Yes. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
My son
Long Cold Woman was written by the other guys that moved to Nashville.
Alan wasn't Alan Clark. That wasn't the Hollies though. They didn't write that. No.
No, they did not write that song. Yep.
Okay.
Well,
Hollies barely wrote any. Graham Nash wrote a couple of those songs. Yeah, but
I'll say something about the Strokes. Is that it's definitely a generational thing because my son-in-law, who likes our music, comes from England, but the Strokes are very smart. They play once a year. They disband, they reform, they do a show at an arena, sells out. He sees them religiously, and I listen to his love of the band, and I'm like, I can't deny it, But it's definitely a generational thing between us and them. That's their generation. That's their band.
Well, you know what?
I haven't heard any songs that I really like. I'm not saying they're played bad, but nothing has caught me. I'll say that.
I bet better that he listens to them than like freaking, I don't know, Metallica. Metallica, it's like every new generation that comes along, we love. That's become the Led Zeppelin of rock and roll. Metallica. It's like give it a break. Okay. I'm tired of it.
Well, Metallica's going to age out too.
Can't play that music forever.
They are slick as anything. I mean, these guys are tight. Yeah. But I don't like what's his name. I don't like Lars as a drummer, man. I don't think he's that great at all.
I can't really comment. I don't know as a drummer. I know in the early stuff, I have Ride the Lightning. I have that. I bought it imported from England before it came out here. I love that album. They were actually progressive in a way, but they've just settled into mediocrity.
I think as a drummer, he's unlike a lot of heavy metal drummers. He's not a Flash. He's got the double kicks down, but he's another pretty economical drummer. He's not bad, but he's not like, hey, nothing he says is grab me by the throat. But I don't think he's underplayed with his songs. But he's
co-owner of the corporation.
Yeah,
him and James Hetfield, right?
And he sued his own fans.
Yeah,
he sued his own fans, and so
yeah.
I've got a live recording. You want to hear it, and you want to guess what it is?
Sure.
Don't get us sued.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Get out of my house. Get out of my house.
Sling Blade.
That's the Sling Blade Porch Band. Yeah.
I want you all to get the...
It's Doyle Hargrave and the whatever they're called.
I want you to pack up your shit. Get the fuck out of my house.
They're called the Kaiser Rolls.
Who's on my side? I play cards with J.D. Shellnut, Chief of Police, so kiss my ass, you little bastard.
Some folks call it a Kaiser roll.
Don't be a pussy, Bond. We all got to go to work in the morning.
I reckon mean to kill you with it.
No, they do that whole 5-7 minute scene in one shot where he's kicking him out, and he's just sitting there in the couch, like totally still, while they're all going crazy around.
Carl Childers, yeah.
My favorite part is when the kid beats the shit out of Dale. Was he hitting with shoes? Was he hitting with garbage or bottles or something?
Soda cans, books.
Soda cans.
Then he says, "Get out of my house! Don't pick on my mother."
No, the mother's like the mother says with the heavy jaw, "Leave."
Leave.
You see John Ritter going, I guess we better go. Classic movie. Can never stop watching.
Can you make Godzilla shoot fire out of a mouth?
Oh, no, I don't think so. It's late. I have to work tomorrow. Don't be a pussy, Vaughn. We all got to work tomorrow. Come on.
Guys, the show's going a little late. I got to go to bed. Don't be a pussy, Mark. We all got to work tomorrow.
We don't need no manager.
We ain't got no PA system. We ain't got no microphones. That was Mickey Jones. Mickey Jones, by the way.
That's right. Drummer Mickey
The
Jones.
late great drummer Mickey Jones. Yeah.
What did he do? I don't know him.
Johnny Rivers. He took Levon Helm's place in the Dylan Electric tour.
When Levon couldn't stand getting booed anymore.
Enough of this. Yeah.
Mickey Jones was the guy. Yep.
Yeah. He's a secret. I think he's on Secret Agent Man. He's on that live Johnny Rivers. Great live Johnny Rivers.
He was Mickey Jones was
on the Whiskey a Go-Go.
Kenny Rogers in the first edition. He was the drummer.
That's right.
Yep.
What condition my condition was in.
And Vic Chestnut is the wheelchair bound
the late great
guy.
Vic Chestnut.
Yep. Well, we covered a lot of territory tonight, guys.
We sure did. Great show.
Well, are we done? Are we not done?
Well, I got two more silly names for you.
I have a one-hit wonder.
Dana Aykroyd and pigs out of Newcastle.
These are actual name of bands.
I'm
right?
telling you.
How many pigs is that?
So how are they going to fit that on a record? It's going to say pigs.
Well, they're out of Newcastle now. I don't know if you guys are.
Or will it just say pigs
Newcastle
and
music?
5 in a circle? You know, like
no, it's probably got
work.
big, small.
And what was the first one?
Dana Aykroyd.
Oh God, Bananarama.
And they were a real band.
Wow. Well, guys, do you want to go into the closing theme and?
No, I got a one-hit wonder.
Let's go, man! You got a one-hit wonder,
and Harry has to get it, or he has to do something for the audience if he doesn't get it.
Yeah, I'm going to say good night to the audience if I don't get it.
So, I believe the year was 1970. This was a number two hit on the Billboard Top 100. Number 2.
Whoa.
The only reason it wasn't number 1 in, I think it was May 23rd, the week of May 23rd, 1970, was that the Guess Who's American Woman held the number 1 spot on the U.S. charts. So,
all right, let's do it.
All right, name this tune. Hello. Hold on a second. We're not done yet.
Got to go through the ads. YouTube's a bitch.
Nope.
We're okay. We're here.
We're here, man. It's good.
We're here for you.
Got it. Vehicle. The Ides of March. The Ides of March.
You got it.
Yeah.
Give yourself some applause. Come on.
Okay. Wait. Yeah, let me get it. Hold on. Yeah. Had that 45. It was on a green record label. That's really all I remember about it. It was on a green record label. Was Al Cooper in that group?
No. I don't know. I don't know who was in it. That's the green record label.
That's the green record label. Yeah. Yep.
Let's give him a little something more. Let's see if we get. It's a one-hit wonder. Don't sue it.
Do it.
It's on my T-shirt because I actually own a vehicle.
I'm a friendly stranger in a black sedan. Yeah, that was
mistaken.
That was a big hit.
Could be creepy now.
Could be mistaken for who?
Well, I'm the friendly stranger in the black sedan. Why don't you hop inside my car? I got pictures. I got candy. I'm a lovable man.
Well, that was 1970, right?
It puts the lotion in the basket, or it gets the hose.
They were on Warner Brothers. They formed in '64, and they're still together.
Really? They formed in '64. Is there anyone of note that we may know? There's a guy named Jack.
Who's in the band?
Who produced the damn thing?
Probably you know who. Tom Dowd.
Tom Dowd, probably. I doubt it. Oh. Let's see. I got it here. It was producers are Bob DeStucky and Frank Rand. Okay, so the drummer, the songwriter Jim Peterick of Survivor.
Great vocalist.
Holy
shit!
Wait a minute.
Yeah, Jim Peterick.
Yep, he wrote. Wow. He co-wrote "Eye of the Tiger." He was a great vocalist.
They also did a song called Superman. I wonder if it's that one by the REM covers. It was a band that
Eye of the Tiger was 12 years after this song,
yeah.
Right?
Peterick stepped in it. He got it.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. That's amazing. We made a connection, a music relish connection.
Dang, man.
Oh, yeah. Shit.
A spontaneous one, too, at that. I'm going to move my thing back here.
All right. I'm going to go into the closing theme, right?
Oh.
I'm going to go into the closing theme.
I'm the one on the fourth wine here, Lou. Come on.
I'm going to go into the closing theme unless...
Wait.
Don't go yet. Don't go yet.
Okay.
I'm seeing actual recording is higher quality. Objects in mirror are larger than they appear when it's
No, that's a rear view mirror, man.
What happened to my camera?
I hear Lou, but I don't see him. But that's all right. We got your audio, Lou.
It doesn't matter.
You're there, man. You're there.
I went out there.
Well, you can hear us still, correct?
Yes, I can.
All right. Here we go, man.
Can hear you, Lou.
We're going to close out the show.
Okay. That's funny. I'm so hang on.
Oh wait, I gotta make a drink. Oh, he's off. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
He'll come back. I think
Lou went out there, man.
Let's give him a couple minutes to get back on. Let's just give him the thing. Look, I'm pouring my wine. My fine Australian wine. This is made with such care.
He's back.
The man in black is back.
He's back.
He's got the Neil Peart hat.
Hello.
I don't think he knows he's back. Lou, come back. Oh,
here he goes.
Back. We are Music Relish Podcast.
We are.
Watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to us.
And
like us if you do.
You can reach us at musicrelishpodcast@gmail.com. Hey, it's the year 2000.
In the year. Look like Frankenstein.
Look, it's that scene from Apocalypse Now at the bridge.
Are you an assassin?
We're on Spotify.
You're an errand boy.
We're on Overcast. We're on Apple Podcasts and Google, aren't we?
And we're on Pocket Casts.
Pocket Cast.
Yes. And
I can't do that. I get dizzy. Damn, Lou is good. Oh, wow. Looks like a Peter Gabriel video.
Well, Lou's doing the Halloween episode.
I wanna be your sledgehammer. We should do a whole night like this.
This is going up on Facebook.
Yeah.
Do.
So,
can I re-record that lead, please?
We're approaching 2 hours.
Looks like you gotta take a shit.
We're all grown men, aren't we?
Nighty-night.
Nighty-night, guys. Nighty-night, Carl.
Bye-bye. Farewell.